We're going to start this snapshot video off a little different than usual. I've got some questions you've asked and some discoveries to share regarding last week's snapshot. Our good old friend Johnny the Vindicator goes after the sulfur cubes. That's probably no surprise. But as you may have noticed, that was a fire aspect sword, and I'm pretty sure that should set this guy ablaze. So how about I give myself one of these swords? Let's see if we can detonate the cube. The answer is no. So what about a flame bow? The answer is yes. Yes, it does. These are answers to some of the questions that you left in the comments. So remember on these videos to comment if you've got any questions and things you want answered. Like the dispenser with a flint and steel setting the ground on fire. We had a really clever question to try this with a cube that's been suspended in midair, so there's no block to be set on fire, and the dispenser can directly interact with this mob. And yes, you saw a very strange visual glitch occurring there. When I leash one of these mobs, they seem to be connected to other things in the area. I say seem, it's just a visual glitch as far as I can tell. All right, what about a cube that's in a minecart? Is it going to get set off by an activator rail? Well, an activator rail actually just ejects the mob. These are really difficult to push when they're in waterlogged rails. There you go. It's, it hit the lever on its way out. So much for protecting this experiment from damage. I guess I should have added more glass. Also, we've got a cube that's in the minecart first, and we can attach an item inside of it second. And now you're going to see that it simply ejects the cube from the minecart. As for the powered rail here, it'll detonate the cube. However, I think it might be because it's on top of a block that's powered more so than the rail itself. And that same detonation will occur with a detector rail because it itself becomes a powered block when a minecart is on it. I also have some information about the timing of the geysers feature that we saw added in the previous snapshot. I got this info from Slice Lime, who is one of the developers of the game, and shared these numbers in his video. The timing information is actually stored in the potent block that you see down below. If I use the data get command, we get a bunch of information about the timing of this block. So when a geyser is created, that block stores a random eruption time between 15 and 30 seconds, and it will stay with this timing until the block is broken. That does indeed mean you could go through a very tedious process of breaking and placing blocks until you get the correct timing that you want for the interval of these eruptions. The more water that you place above this block means that it has both longer eruption times and a longer dormant time between eruptions. And the timing of this eruption is actually locked to every second or 20 ticks. We have 20 repeaters here, all on a single tick. The time it takes to activate them all is exactly 1 second. So eruptions are locked to taking place every 20th tick. And there is also a way to make your geyser infinitely active using a command. You want to merge this tag with the block you desire. Its eruption time set to -1. Did you notice this and think, oh cool, the geyser particle effects can go through copper grates? This is what I've heard, but it's actually not true. If we go ahead and move the height of these copper grates, you'll see they no longer go through. Now they're just getting bunched up and caught down below. So here's the thing, it turns out that these particle effects will go through any block that is at this height, which is just one block of air between the water and the block itself. It would be really nice if we got some official compatibility for having it go through just copper grates. I also wanted to check if it would do this when they're waterlogged, and the answer is yes. Yes, they do. But that's probably because they go for any block. And if you're curious, they will still move entities when they've already gone through a block. Before we leave this world, I want to show you the monorail that I designed. And while I remember, sometime this evening after the video is live, I'll be streaming on Twitch. If you'd like to hang out with me this evening on Hermitcraft, then you can find a link to my Twitch channel in the description box below. Speaking of live streams, we actually designed this monorail on a stream. You can see we've got a piston here to push up our ice block sulfur cube, and then a slime block that's going to push it all the way along this rail. The trapdoors are here to hold it in place, and it'll make its way to the other side. So we'll go ahead and press the button and see that in action. And of course, we've got a saddled pig down here that we can ride to get from one side over to the other. Now, I'm yet to figure out exactly how to make this thing go around a corner, but I did figure out how to add a boost section to the track. Can you guess what this is going to use to boost us along? Look at this. We make it from one side all the way to the other just perfectly. Let's see it again when I'm standing out the back here It is indeed a wind charge that hits our cube and sends it along to the end. Pretty cool stuff, right? I'm really happy with this design because it's kind of small and super compact. I guess with the exception to this big long track that you need, but it's a monorail. Thanks for indulging me. It's now time for snapshot number 6. Sulfur cave biomes have been redesigned in a really big way. They now look absolutely fantastic. The sulfur and cinnabar spreads so much further. The caves that I've seen feel much more connected like this with tons of spikes everywhere. It feels like a really positive change, and it's been made so that more pools of water like this can generate as well. You may also notice that it looks a little different because there's no longer a blend of granite and tuff in and around the edges of these blocks. Personally, I thought those actually fit in pretty well, but I definitely like the change we see in this snapshot. If we pop into spectator mode and have a look around, you can just see how absolutely massive and widespread these are now. It's a really big change. This also makes it a lot harder to find the sulfur springs on the surface of the world because the biomes seem to spread out much further. And after visiting over 5 different sets of caves, I wasn't able to find a naturally generated sulfur spring on the surface. They could now be super rare, or this could possibly be a bug, but according to the website, all of the sulfur springs have been redesigned. If we cast our mind back to earlier in the video, we saw the original designs hanging out in the background of this world. In this new world, we can see the new sulfur springs. We've got 1 extra large here, followed by 2 large variations, then 3 medium, and 4 small. You may recall that's the exact same amount that we had before. So now we get some granite and cinnabar on the surface. It's also surrounded by tuff, which is interesting because they kind of removed those features from the biome, but not here at the sulfur spring. They still feature the potent blocks with magmas down below so that we can have some geysers erupting. And if we dig around below this thing, it looks like it stores a bunch of cinnabar in with the sulfur blocks too. But I don't think there's anything else special to these structures. They are just a lot more interesting now. All right, look at this. Geyser eruptions can now be detected by skulk sensors. So you know the dealio with this, when the geyser erupts, the skulk sensor gets set off. This is also when the eruption ends too. These game events can be calibrated by calibrated skulk sensors. So with a signal strength of 10, you will detect the start of an eruption. And with signal strength 9, you can detect the end of one. And here we are capturing it on camera. Awesome. Let's move on to the new Sulfur Cube archetypes added in this snapshot. We have Slow Bouncy and Hot. Slow Bouncy is more of a regular type with slow speed, high bounciness, medium friction, and medium air drag. It's also buoyant. And a cube becomes slow and bouncy when using one of the game's many different stone types. There is a lot of blocks that fall into this category. This one is a little anticlimactic to me. It doesn't bounce as much as I thought it might, but let's use a netherite sword with sharpness 5. We get a little bit more height out of it. Maybe we need to use it like this to see its bounciness. I'm actually a little underwhelmed by this one. It's not as bouncy as I thought it might be. This other one would appear to be a lot more exciting. It is a special archetype and it damages other entities on contact. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and test this on the creeper to find out if it explodes in retaliation. Let's feed you a magma block. Let's whack you with the sword. And, well, you know, it got damaged. We saw that. But that was kind of the end of it. Let's see if we can hit another one. I'm going to have to work on my aim here, aren't I? It's a lot easier when they're closer together, I'll say that. I'm kind of curious, if it's standing still, how it interacts with other entities. Ah, look at that. Look at that. Oh my god, this could be used in a mob farm. Yeah, you send all your mobs to a hole, you got one of these things in it, and it's a new way to damage them. Oh, I like that. This thing might have some other uses too. I'm in survival mode in case you didn't notice it. I'm just using this thing to damage them. Oh, I think this is a great feature right here. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I've made a new game. It's called Get the Creepers in the Hole. All right, there's probably a lot of experiments we can do with this one, so you know what to do. Comment down below, and next week we'll investigate this one further. And while you're down there, subscribe so you don't miss that video. We still have more to learn this snapshot because there's quite a few changes to the Sulfur Cube. Most of these come from bug fixes, but they're worth knowing about because they're looking at all the oversights that have been missed when adding a new entity to the game. So it doesn't take freezing damage, but previously it would shake when it was inside of a powdered snow block. Previously, arrows shot from a dispenser wouldn't move a sulfur cube, but now it does. Previously, the extra damage a mace could do was ignored by this mob. So obviously I've got to drop in from above, and my timing is decent. We made it go right up in the air. I want to do that again. That was satisfying. Similar to what we saw a moment ago with dispensers and arrows, they wouldn't pass on the effect of a tipped arrow. So let's go ahead and give this thing slow falling. If I hit it right at the bottom, we send it up. It's kind of hard to see, but it does have the slow falling effect. You can see the particle effects. Yep, there you go. It's got it. All right, I'm now going to give myself the knockback enchantment because previously the game ignored this. Yeah, you can see it pushes it much further along. Sends this bouncy block higher up in the sky as well. That's the combo right there. Let's check it out against the sharpness sword. Nowhere near as good as knockback. Whew. All right, some players play with mob griefing set to false. And guess what was overlooked? It appears the solution is that you now can't ignite. No, okay, you can ignite it, but it's not going to explode anything. Remember the fire aspect that we tested earlier in this video, not setting them on fire? Yep, that's been patched. This enchantment will now set them on fire. Something else we got this snapshot was a new advancement for putting TNT inside of a sulfur cube. This is its own new advancement inside of the husbandry tab. We also got support for 3 new languages added to the game. Wandering traders will now sell sulfur spikes. And that bug that we saw earlier in the video with the leash lines, that's been patched. So that's it from me this snapshot video. Remember, after you've watched it, I'll be streaming on Twitch this evening. So I hope to see you over there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.